Hello, I'm Natasha Foreman. Welcome to the Breaking Bread with Natasha podcast, where I share daily devotionals from my namesake blog, so you can listen on demand to spiritual messages inspired by God's love, as expressed in the Bible and other religious texts. You can read along at breakingbreadwithnatasha.com or sit back and take in the word. Either way, I'm blessed to have you break bread with me. Without further delay, let's begin today's message. Welcome, Breaking Bread family. This is Natasha Foreman. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to dive into the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, line 17. And the translation that I'm reading says, "The quiet words of the wise are more to be heeded than the shouts of a ruler of fools." I tend to speak loudly, especially when I'm excited or angry. My voice rises higher and higher. If you've been listening to me here on Breaking Bread or through my business podcast, you know that there's some times where I'm just so passionate and excited that I'm just loud. I don't always realize it until someone says something, or when I've stopped speaking and I hear someone else speaking loudly, and then I wonder, oh geez, was I that loud? Or when I hear myself on playback and I'm like, ooh, turn the volume down. I come from a large family of loudspeakers, and we really don't need a microphone to be heard in a room. Our voices can carry quite well. I'm not making excuses, just giving you context and insight into the environment where I grew up and I've grown accustomed to imitating. I mean, get us laughing or singing and we could sound like twice the number of people in a given space. Turn on sports and it's a wrap, as the saying goes. The same is true when we argue. The passion is so intense that if bottled up, it could be used to ignite something. It comes from being from a large family and having so many voices to navigate through and be heard, and you have to get that voice kicked up a few notches. I don't know, just a theory. I haven't actually explored. So how can a person's tendency to speak loudly cause a communication breakdown? Well, if we're not actively listening to the other person, then our voice is flooding the conversation and creating more noise than clarity. And is the other person capable of truly hearing and understanding you if you're too busy straining? Shouting can distract you from discerning the facts, what is true versus what's false, and what was said or omitted. And how can you hear God's faint whisper if you're yelling, shouting, or screaming, or forcing yourself to listen to it? I was shy and soft-spoken as a child. Teachers, other adults, and children always told me to speak up. What I find interesting, though, is that people actually pay closer attention to what I'm saying when I speak softer. They have to strain and force out the noise to hear me, which means they also can't be blabbering away. I always test this out when teaching or speaking to a group in person. It works wonders in an auditorium. People have that bewildered look on their faces because they know they just missed something, and now they wish I would repeat myself so they can fill in that gap. So yeah, it doesn't work well when watching a sporting event, jamming at a concert, playing a card or board game, or cracking jokes, but it leaves an impression when dealing with matters of the heart, intense topics, and the like. I wish I remembered this when I'm hurt or upset instead of yelling to get my point across. When we look at the world around us and the nonsense that plagues our communities, governments, and businesses, look closely at who is leading the charge. Look at who the news cameras zoom towards. Have you noticed a trend? As we see the parade of fools walking behind who? The shouting ruler. When dealing with matters that impact our souls, we must be mindful of who we're listening to and following. Let's not be as casual as we are over a ball game. Something else to consider is that wisdom does not always have to be spoken aloud, expressed with words. Body language speaks volumes, as does walking away from an unfavorable environment. Let me leave you with some parting words. Remember, the loudest in the room could be hard of hearing, the biggest fool, or both. and not necessarily the one to pay attention to. They could also just be a person raised around other loud people, which comes naturally to them. When in doubt, ask God. Seek his guidance to discern the fool from the wise, truth from lies, and God's path from the enemy's cleverly covered pit. Will you join me in a moment of prayer? Great. Father, I ask for wisdom through your guidance and word, the knowledge of experience, others, and my own, the teachings of mentors and advisors, and from learning from others' mistakes, failures, and achievements. I ask that you lovingly remind me of the value of quiet words and even silence when words are not necessary. I'm trying to learn to control my tone so that I can always hear and respond to your voice. In your name, I humbly pray. Amen. And with that, family, I pray that you are blessed, that you see and embrace your blessings, and that you're a blessing to others. I love you all. Take care.
Hi, family. If what I shared in today's message resonates with you, I hope you will share it with others. Feel free to leave positive comments and reviews on my site, breakingbreadwithnatasha.com, and through whichever podcast provider that you're listening to me. Each day, I work to be a better steward and servant. I hope you will join me in sharing God's love and truth and rebuking the enemy's lies. Now go out there and make today an awesome day. I love you all.